Hi, good afternoon, good morning, whenever you're watching this. I apologize for the technical difficulties we had this morning. We had a lot of them during service, both online and in the building, so we apologize for that. And I'm going to read the gospel reading for you and also give the sermon or the reflection. So again, sorry about our technical difficulties, but this is the Holy Gospel according to John, the 11th chapter. Glory to you, O Lord. Now a certain man was ill, Lazarus of Bethany, the village of Mary and her sister Martha. Mary was the one who anointed the Lord with perfume and wiped his feet with her hair. Her brother Lazarus was ill. So the sisters sent a message to Jesus, Lord, he whom you love is ill. But when Jesus heard it, he said, This illness does not lead to death. Rather, it is for God's glory, so that the Son of God may be glorified through it. Accordingly, though Jesus loved Martha and Mary and her sister Mary and Lazarus, and he heard Lazarus was ill, he stayed 2 days longer in the place where he was. Then after this he said to the disciples, Let us go to Judea again. The disciples said to him, Rabbi, the Jews were just now trying to stone you, and are you going there again? Jesus answered, Are there not 12 hours of daylight? Those who walk during the day do not stumble because they see the light of this world. But those who walk at night stumble because the light is not in them. After saying this, he told them, Our friend Lazarus has fallen asleep, but I am going there to awaken him. The disciples said to him, Lord, if he has fallen asleep, he will be all right. Jesus, however, had been speaking about his death, but they thought that he was referring merely to sleep. Then Jesus told them plainly, Lazarus is dead. For your sake I am glad I was not there, so that you may believe. But let us go to him. Thomas, who was called the twin, said to his fellow disciples, Let us also go, that we may die with him. When Jesus arrived, he found that Lazarus had already been in the tomb 4 days. Now Bethany was near Jerusalem, some 2 miles away, and many of the Jews had come to Martha and Mary to console them about their brother. When Martha heard that Jesus was coming, she went and met him, while Mary stayed at home. Martha said to Jesus, Lord, if you had been here, my brother would not have died. But even now I know that God will give you whatever you ask of him. Jesus said to her, Your brother will rise again. Martha said to him, I know that he will rise again in the resurrection on the last day. Jesus said to her, I am the resurrection and the life. Those who believe in me, even though they die, will live, and everyone who lives and believes in me will never die. Do you believe this? She said to him, Yes, Lord, I believe that you are the Messiah, the Son of God, the one coming into the world. When she had said this, she went back and called her sister Mary and told her privately, The teacher is here and is calling for you. And when she heard it, she got up quickly and went to him. Now Jesus had not yet come to the village, but was still at the place where Martha had met him. The Jews who were with her in the house consoling her saw Mary get up quickly and go out. They followed her because they thought she was going to the tomb to weep there. When Mary came where Jesus was and saw him, she knelt at his feet and said to him, Lord, if you had been here, my brother would not have died. When Jesus saw her weeping, and the Jews who came with her also weeping, he was greatly disturbed in spirit and deeply moved. He said, Where have you laid him? They said to him, Lord, come and see. Jesus began to weep. So the Jews said, See how he loved him. But some said, Could not he who opened the eyes of the blind man have kept this man from dying? Then Jesus, again greatly disturbed, came to the tomb. It was a cave, and a stone was lying against it. Jesus said, Take away the stone. Martha, the sister of the dead man, said to him, Lord, already there's a stench, because he has been dead 4 days. Jesus said to her, Did I not tell you that if you believed, you would see the glory of God? So they took away the stone. And Jesus looked upward and said, Father, I thank you for having heard me. I knew that you always hear me, but I have said this for the sake of the crowd standing here, so that they may believe that you sent me. When he had said this, he cried with a loud voice, "Lazarus, come out." The dead man came out, his hands and feet bound with strips of cloth and his face wrapped in a cloth. Jesus said to them, "Unbind him and let him go." Many of the Jews, therefore, who had come with Mary and had seen what Jesus did, believed in him. This is the gospel of our Lord. Praise to you, O Christ. Have you ever found yourself in a place that you didn't expect to be and didn't quite know how to get out of? Not a physical place necessarily, but a place in your life that feels closed off, quiet, maybe even stuck. Sometimes it's grief that hasn't loosened its hold. Sometimes it's a version of ourselves we don't know how to move beyond. Sometimes it's just exhaustion, the kind that settles in and makes everything feel a little heavier. And the strange thing is, we can get used to those places. We learn how to function there. We learn what to expect. We even learn how to make it look like everything is fine. In today's gospel, Lazarus has been in the tomb for 4 days, long enough that everyone is certain about what is true, long enough that no one expects anything different. And then Jesus shows up. Not early, not in time to prevent anything, but right in the middle of grief and confusion and all the questions that come with it. We find Mary and Martha in the thick of that grief. Their brother has died. Jesus wasn't there when they needed him. And when he finally arrives, they don't hold back. "Lord, if you had been here, my brother would not have died." Think about that for a moment. Martha and Mary know Jesus. They are friends. Lazarus is Jesus' friend. This is an honest relationship, which means this is honest faith. They know the theology. They know Jesus is the Messiah, the one coming into the world. They proclaim it. They name it. And yet, they still grieve. Not unlike any of us would. Look at how Jesus responds. He doesn't correct them. He doesn't brush past the grief. He doesn't say, "If you really believe, stop crying." Listen again to what John tells us. Jesus is deeply moved. The Greek carries the weight of grief, anger, and disturbance all at once, mixed together the way strong emotion is in our human body. In the church, we say that Jesus is fully divine and fully human. Here, we see that humanity come through. And when Jesus is deeply moved in spirit, notice what he does. He weeps. This isn't surface level. This isn't performative mourning. This is gut level, embodied grief. Jesus stays right there with him. And then he says something that shifts the whole conversation. Martha says what many of us have been taught to say. "I know that he will rise again in the resurrection on the last day." Someday, somewhere down the road, in a future that feels very far from this moment. And Jesus responds, "I am the resurrection and the life. Not I will be, not someday I'll make this right. I am. Right here, right now." That doesn't erase what Mary and Martha are feeling. It doesn't undo the loss. It doesn't take away the reality that Lazarus has died. But it does mean that life is not as far away as it feels. It means that even in the middle of grief, even in the middle of questions without clear answers, even in places that feel closed off and final, God is still at work. Not waiting for everything to be resolved, not holding life off until some future moment. Present, active, calling life forward, even here. Maybe that's what makes this part so hard to recognize. Because we tend to look for resurrection as something dramatic, something final, something that changes everything all at once. But what if resurrection also looks quieter than that? What if it looks like a small shift, a breath you didn't think you could take, a moment of connection, a step forward you weren't sure you had in you? Not instead of grief, not instead of what's been lost, but alongside it. Life, still finding a way to break in. And then Jesus does something even more personal. After he weeps with Mary and Martha and the crowd gathered there, Jesus does what no one expects. He calls Lazarus by name. Not hey you, not hey guy, Lazarus. It's personal, direct, relational. I think about a time in my own life when I didn't feel ready for what was in front of me. It was the beginning of my hospital chaplaincy. We had just finished our week-long intensive training, and we were assigned to our clinical units. I was placed on the gastrointestinal unit and the hematology-oncology unit at Nationwide Children's Hospital in Columbus, Ohio. Give me diabetes or something vision-related, I know about those. I knew nothing about stomach issues or cancer. Why would anyone assign a student chaplain to the cancer unit? I remember thinking, I don't know what I possibly have to offer here. And I also remember feeling something in me that knew I needed to show up anyway. Maybe that's how calling works more often than we realize. Calling is quiet. It's repeated. It's sometimes resisted, maybe even often resisted. And it's usually uncertain. I bet you felt that too. Even if you don't think of yourself as someone who's been called, you have. But here's the part of this story we don't always notice. Lazarus comes out of the tomb, which is remarkable, but he's still bound. He's alive, but not yet free. And that might be one of the most honest moments in this whole passage, because growth is uneven. We step forward and we still carry things that weigh us down, things that make us wonder, doubts that haven't resolved, grief over someone we didn't get to say goodbye to, anger toward a situation that never got closure. We come out of the tomb and we're still wrapped up. That's when Jesus turns, not to Lazarus, but to everyone standing around him. And he says some of the most powerful words in this story. Unbind him and let him go. Jesus involves the community, everyone. Apparently, resurrection isn't something we do alone. We help one another live. Most of us don't come out of the tomb all at once. We take a step and we're still carrying things, still wrapped up in fear or grief or old ways of seeing ourselves. That's where other people matter. We help unbind one another in ways that are often small but not insignificant. Sometimes it looks like this. Someone sitting next to you in a hard moment, not trying to fix it, just staying. Someone saying your name when you've started to forget who you are. Someone noticing you've been quiet and gently checking in. Someone saying, you don't have to carry it by yourself. Sometimes unbinding looks like encouragement. Someone seeing something in you, a gift that you can't see yet. And sometimes it looks like patience, letting someone take their time, not rushing them to be better or back to normal. And if we're honest, sometimes we need that just as much as anyone else. We need people who will help us loosen what's been wrapped too tightly around us. People who walk with us as we figure out what it means to be alive again. Because resurrection, apparently, is not something we do alone. And maybe that's part of the calling in this story. Not just to come out, but to notice who else is still standing there, still wrapped up, still trying to take that first step. And to be the kind of community that helps them live. Maybe the question isn't just, what is God calling me to do? But where is God calling me out? And who might need me to help unbind them? The story doesn't end with everything neatly resolved. Lazarus is standing there. Alive, yes, but still adjusting. Still taking in the light. Still wrapped in what used to define him. And the people around him are beginning the slow, sacred work of helping him live into that new life. Maybe that's what resurrection looks like more often than we expect. Not everything changing all at once. Not every question answered. Not every piece of grief suddenly gone. But a voice that calls your name. A step, maybe a small one, toward the light. And a community that refuses to let you do it alone. So wherever you find yourself today, whatever place feels closed off, or quiet, or stuck, listen. The same voice that stood at the entrance of that tomb is still calling you by name, calling you into life, and trusting that as you step forward, even if you're not fully ready, even if you're still carrying things, there will be people around you to help you live it. Amen. God's blessings to you this week. I hope to see you next week as we enter into Holy Week, starting with Palm Sunday. Peace.